Over the course of the last week, I've realized that even though I've used so many different earbuds, the Nothing Ear 2s are one of my favorites for 3 different reasons. And in this video, I'll explain the positives as well as the negatives so you can make a good informed choice if you should buy these. Now, Nothing is a company that I really like because they started doing things a little bit differently. They had plenty of advertising that was done a little bit differently, a lot of hype build up, but I like the products because they just look a little bit different. They have something special about them, and the same thing with the Nothing Ear 2. Now, these look very similar to the first versions. There's some small tweaks as far as the design of the case is slightly smaller, but compared to everything else that's out there, these stand out with their clear case design, along with having the white and even the buds themselves having casings that are translucent. So you see some of the components inside, and I really appreciate it. Even the packaging is a little bit unique. The way you tear off the tab all the way around it and you open them up, and inside you get a short but high quality USB Type-C cable along with some different ear tips. Now, I use the largest ones, and wearing these for I think up to 4 hours at a time until the battery died out, I had no issues with comfort whatsoever, which I can't say for a lot of other competitors. So I would say that comfort is one of the major pluses for these. They fit my ears really well, and even though it's a slightly looser fit, even with the large ear tips compared to some others, they did not come out of my ears for any reason. And with that, it still felt like I had a nice seal without too much pressure. Now, I did use them with active noise cancellation on for most of the time, and we'll talk about that in just a bit. And that leads to that roughly 4 hours of battery life, which is lower than a lot of the competitors. But the case holds about 5 extra charges, which is more than average, and that is nice. And it also can charge up about 8 hours of charge time in about 10 minutes, which is really nice. Now, even though the case doesn't look like it has Qi wireless charging, it actually does have a coil built in, so that is great. I truly enjoy having wireless charging. It's very convenient. And other than that, I do like the shape and the fact that there's a little indent in here. It just makes me kind of play around with them. It's a little fidget kind of a design. And then inside, you guys see the buds right there. They're nice and easy to know which one goes where. They magnetize in, and they're easy to access, which I can't say for a lot of the other earbuds. With that, the size is fairly decent. I do wish it was a little bit smaller as far as the shape instead of this square, but it's not too thick. So even though I do notice them in my pocket, it's not a major big bump that gets annoying. The other thing I want to mention is that even though it's only been a week, I am already noticing scratches on the case, and I've been pretty easy with them other than one drop onto carpet. So I'm guessing that in a month or a couple months, this is going to be fairly scratched up. But with that, the magnetic closure in the hinge is nice and high quality, so when I did drop it, they didn't fall out. Onto the buds themselves, like I mentioned, I really like the design, not only because it's translucent, but the shape is nice. It fits into most ears really well, and even the actual ear tip is a more of kind of like an oval instead of being round. It makes it slightly slimmer, and it makes it definitely comfortable when it's in your ear. And even though I don't think that they have pressure vents, I don't get a lot of pressure having these in my ears, even with the active noise cancellation. Now, one of my favorite things are the controls. You have these stems that come down, and you click in order to pause, resume. You can multi-click to skip tracks. You can even click and hold in order to do other settings. And I think this is by far the best way to control earbuds, especially if you have a stem, instead of tapping them like you have on a lot of other ones. Now, in the app, you have a bunch of different settings, and some of which are surprising for $149 earbuds. There's in-ear detection, personalized ink, which we'll talk about, low lag mode for gaming, high quality LHDC audio codec, and personalized sound profile along with dual connection, which is really cool. You can connect to 2 different devices, and then when you get off your phone and turn something on your laptop, for example, it will automatically start playing from there. You have an ear tip fit test and find my earbuds. Now, when we go out in the main menu, you see the battery life of both of your buds along with the case. There's also an LED in here that will give you that information. Of course, you can customize the controls like we talked about, and there is a built-in equalizer. Now, personally, I did mess around with it. I bumped up the treble a little bit, but even the default sounded really good to me. Now, there's also a personalized sound profile, which I appreciate. Now, for me, it didn't make that big of a difference, but I think it really depends on your sound preferences and your ear shape, how much of a difference it would make, but it's great that it's there. Now, with that, let's talk about active noise cancellation. I was really surprised how well these did. Now, they're not the best on the market, but they are up there, and they do have personalized ink where it will tune it for your ears and maybe for the environment, and it did make a small but noticeable difference for me. Now, you can also manually change that if you don't want as much, which is really nice to have if you're more sensitive to that. So overall, the active noise cancellation is really good for that price point. Now, what isn't good is the transparency mode. While it's not the worst that I've heard, it is not great at all. And I think that has something to do with the microphones that are built in there. Now, when I made some calls, the people didn't really have any issues hearing me, but when I recorded using my phone's recording app, the quality was pretty bad. Go ahead and take a listen. Now, I'm guessing that's because the microphones just aren't picking up the high ends as well. So here's a recording from the Nothing Ear 2. Now, thankfully, the sound quality makes up for that because these things sound fantastic. The original ones were not that great sounding even after updates, but these ones, they made some changes to the internal shape. They did a lot of tuning, and it sounds fantastic. Now, when I compared them to my other earbuds, in some songs they didn't do as well, but surprisingly, in heavy songs that have a lot of instruments like rock, these actually beat them out, and I was just shocked by that. Now, with that said, these also have a very natural sound tuning, so it's not too boomy. The highs aren't pushed up too much. They are actually closer to reference compared to most earbuds, so you get a very balanced natural sound. And over the last week, I've really enjoyed listening to them. I didn't feel like I was missing out as far as sound quality to my earbuds that cost about twice as much. Now, the only kind of complaint that I have is that I wish they did get a little bit louder. Not that they are quiet. I personally just like extremely loud sounds, and that is not good for my ears. So I think when you turn these up, they get to loud enough without damaging your ears, maybe even slightly louder than that. But even though they are louder than some of the other earbuds that I've used that cost more, I still wish I had a little bit of extra oomph sometimes, especially with tracks that are quieter that you're listening to. So with all of that said, I think these are the best earbuds you can buy for $149. They are unique. They look very cool, the active noise cancellation is good, and the sound quality is really, really good. So if you're looking for something that stands out, that has a little bit of character, and that still has great features for a good price point, I would say these are one of my favorites. So thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and click that circle above to subscribe. Check out one of those videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.